Welcome to the Pot of Inquiry, everyone. I have something very special for you today, and that is really a masterful presentation on binders and how to use them by my friend and colleague, Dr. Emily Rowe. Everyone that is in the longevity game looks to see if they have any exposure to heavy metals or toxins or of other types, and we all do, mold toxicity especially. But you don't necessarily know how to implement them in your treatment plan and really the nuances about all of the things that are going on, not only from a physiological standpoint, but also from the administration of them in a proper fashion. So Dr. Rowe has agreed to let me rebroadcast this on our platform. I felt that it was so fantastic that I just had to share it with our audience, because so many people will ask me, well, how do I use a binder? I know I'm supposed to, or I want to detox. And this very insightful and great presentation that Dr. Rowe does will answer those questions for you. So please enjoy this episode with my very special friend, Dr. Emily Rowe.
Welcome to the Pot of Inquiry. Ready for some thought-provoking cerebral whipping and the destruction of ridiculous medical dogma? Want to shift those stale, moldy old paradigms? Well then, don that thinking cap of yours, get down in the cave, and join our host, Dr. Stephen Barrett, for this week's episode. Let's start spelunking.
Hey everybody, thank you for watching this video. I am going to talk about binders and why they are the crux and basis of mold toxin treatment. So I'm going to share my screen. I made a PowerPoint to explain how to take binders, why they're important. So we're going to talk binder basics today. The reason why I made this video is many people who have mold toxicity are brain fogged. And when you're brain fogged, reading can be difficult, comprehension can be difficult. And this is a video that you can watch so that you can understand how to follow the treatment plan so you can get better and fix your brain, along with any other symptoms you're experiencing secondary to mold toxicity. So what are binders? Binders are medications and natural supplements that we use to bind toxins so that you can poop them out. They're also called sequestering agents. So one of the first binders that was ever used is called cholestyramine. And this is an old treatment for elevated cholesterol. It's also an old treatment for Crohn's. And it works amazing as a binder for ochratoxin A. Now, a lot of people can't tolerate this particular binder. I find it's the most difficult one to tolerate. But there's lots of other binders. There's lots of options. We're all unique individuals, and what you need may be different from what your friend or someone you heard on a podcast needs. The basis of mold toxin treatment, the crux of it, is binders. Binders are crucial to mold toxin successful treatment. So how do binders work? Binders work based on enterohepatic circulation. And what this is it's a connection between your liver and the intestines. So things enter into the intestines and they get sucked up by the portal vein and enter into the liver. And so, if you take a drug or a medication, it's going to move through the intestines, get sucked up here into the portal vein and brought to the liver, where the liver processes it. Next, the liver is going to metabolize that toxin or drug. And then the metabolites of these toxins are turned into bile. And then they're released with the bile from the gallbladder into the intestines. And then what happens here is only 5% gets excreted and the rest gets recycled and brought back to the liver. And so what you end up happening is you get this recycling of toxins. And when you get this recycling of toxins over and over again with mold toxicity, it ends up breaking down your liver's ability to totally detoxify, because the liver will detox stuff, get it ready to release, but only 5% is being released. So you end up on this merry-go-round. And enterohepatic circulation was originally designed in your body so that you didn't have to make bile over and over again. It's a lot of work to make bile salts, and it is a way to recycle bile salts. However, when you're inundated with toxins, this recycling mechanism is not helpful, because what happens is the toxins just kept cycling over and over and over again, and you end up stuck on the toxic merry-go-round. Guess what else is subject to enterohepatic circulation? All of your hormones. So we often see with mold toxicity hormone accumulation, and so in women this can lead to estrogen dominance, PMS, all sorts of hormonal imbalances. In men, this can lead to prostate issues. And the reason why is your gallbladder is what processes your hormones. All of these are fat soluble. Hormones are fat soluble. Mold toxins are fat soluble. And as we know, the gallbladder is what deals with fat. So what'll happen is your body will prioritize dealing with mold, and hormones can get out of balance. And then the other thing that can get out of balance is plastics. Plastics are basically what we call xenoestrogens, and these are fake estrogens. And so then you'll get the accumulation of microplastics as well. So next thing you know, everything just gets out of control. So when toxins and drugs undergo enterohepatic recycling, they end up building up. So here you can see you have your drug or your toxin, like mold toxin. It enters into the gastrointestinal tract, goes to the liver, and only a little bit is eliminated. But what ends up happening is this rest goes down this red line, recycled back into the GI tract. And this just leads to the accumulation of toxins. So this is like an overflowing sink. And the first step always, if your sink is overflowing, is to turn off the faucet. Now, this is a rusty old faucet. The handle doesn't even work. You have to go get a wrench and turn it off. And what's the equivalent to turning off the faucet, stopping the flow of water? Getting out of your mold toxic home. This is extremely important. You've got to stop the toxic burden. But you've moved out of your home, you're getting it renovated, you've hired a contractor. That's not my job. My job is to help you treat the mold toxin in your body. You can, this is not what I'm trained to do. I can help you find a good mold remediator, but that's another conversation. However, you've got this clogged up sink and this dirty water, and there's food accumulation, and there's water all over the floor and the counter, and you got a big mess in your kitchen. And your kitchen is essentially your nasopharynx, your liver, your enterohepatic circulation. Your whole body is just clogged up with these mold toxins. So the first step is to identify what's actually obstructing the drain. And so the way you're going to do this is you're going to check a urinary mold toxicity test. So this allows you to see which toxins have actually accumulated in your body. I have patients who come in and they're like, I don't want to spend a lot of money on labs. Well, we need to know what we're treating. And the reason why is different toxins need different binders. And so this is like the diagnostics. This is the equivalent of finding out where are the blockages in the drain, what part of the pipe needs to be replaced. Now you've gotten your test results, you know which mold toxins you have. Now you're going to start on binders. Binders help you to remove mold toxins from the body. This is unclogging the sink, allowing the toxins to pour down the drain and leave. Now you still got a big mess in your kitchen. Look at all that water all over the floor. You got to clean up the kitchen floors, the counters. This room has water damage. It's trashed. So what you need to do is, after you've been on binders for at least 1 month and you're stable, you need to treat the mold colonization that happens in the nasopharynx and the GI tract. And you go on antifungals, and you can either do pharmaceuticals or herbals, but you got to do something. And you stay on binders the whole time while you treat the colonization. So just to review the basics of mold toxin treatment: get out of the moldy environment, do a urinary mold toxin test. Binders are the basis of mold toxin treatment. Next, after you're on binders and stable, you eradicate the colonization of the nose, sinuses, and GI tract from mold. And you treat until the mold toxin test comes back without any toxins. Often people need a minimum of 2 years of treatment, 2 years. Now, binders, basically the way they work is they bind directly to the toxins, and they also stop the enterohepatic circulation of toxins so that you're able to poop the toxins out. So what the binders are doing, we're putting a big stop to this recycling. And here you have your happy emoji poo-poo, and you can eliminate all of your binders. Binder basics. Start one binder at a time. It's okay to go slow. We usually recommend that people take one binder for 3 to 5 days and then add the next one. Now, if you're a sensitive person, you may need to take the binder for 1 week or 1 month and build up very slowly. Sorry. That is totally okay. Certain people who are very sensitive need to start with a low dose. We have binders in powder versions, so you can take the grain of 1 rice, add it to a cup of hot water, drink it, and start really, really slowly. You can slowly build up. And if you are extremely sensitive, it is helpful if you tell yourself that it is safe to release toxins. And if you generate a feeling of safety, this is where things like hypnosis comes in, vagal toning, limbic system retraining, telling your body that it's okay to release the toxin and you don't need to sequester it anymore, and that there are ways for the toxin to leave.
Before we continue with this great discussion, I just want to take a quick break to acknowledge this week's sponsor. I'm constantly exploring new avenues to enhance well-being and address any health concerns. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce you to an exciting supplement called Stem Regen, which I take daily and genuinely believe could revolutionize your health journey as well. Stem Regen stands out as a game changer in the realm of wellness. Crafted from 5 potent plant extracts, it boasts a remarkable ability to stimulate the release of your body's own stem cells from your red bone marrow. Why is this significant? Well, stem cells are the superheroes of our body's natural repair system. They possess the extraordinary capacity to morph into various cell types, aiding in tissue regeneration and repair. As we age, the quantity of circulating stem cells in our system reduces significantly, impairing our body's ability to heal and rejuvenate itself effectively. Stem Regen steps in to counter this decline by kickstarting the release of stem cells into circulation, thereby bolstering your body's innate repair mechanisms. Once unleashed into your bloodstream, these mobilized stem cells actively seek out areas of damage or injury, initiating the healing process. By incorporating Stem Regen into your daily routine, you're essentially empowering your body to tap into its own regenerative prowess more efficiently. I firmly believe that Stem Regen could be a valuable addition to your wellness regimen, especially if you're seeking to fortify overall health and vitality, accelerate tissue repair, or expedite recovery from injury or illness. This first of its kind stem cell mobilizer is changing the game in regenerative medicine. Don't wait to unleash your body's innate healing capabilities. Visit stemregen.co/Dr. Steven, that's with a PH, and use the code SBPOD to get a 15% discount off your first order of Stem Regen.
If you start feeling too terrible while you're taking the binder and you cannot tolerate it, it's okay to go back to the previous dose or to stop the binder and take a different binder. And if you're only tolerating a small amount of binders, that's okay. It's still working. It's just you're going to need a while to slowly build up to the binders. But what'll happen is after you're on binders for about 3 months, you'll be able to tolerate more and more release of toxins. And next thing you know, your symptoms will start dropping away. And so even though it can take a long time to treat mold toxicity, you're going to feel much better and your symptoms are going to decrease. And it's important to remember we're all unique individuals. Not everybody needs every binder. Even if you took the urinary mycotoxin test and it lit up like a Christmas tree with every mold toxin, that does not necessarily mean that you need to take 7 binders per day. So these are common binders that we use. I've mentioned cholestyramine before. Welchol is also a cholesterol medication. Charcoal, optifibrillene, glucomannan, bentonite clay, zeolite clay, chlorella, and Saccharomyces boulardii. And again, what these do is stop the enterohepatic circulation and poop out the toxin. So these are pictures of common binders. These are my favorite ones. Saccharomyces boulardii is unique. It's treated differently than the other binders. So with the Saccharomyces, you can take this any time of the day. It doesn't have to be separate from food and other supplements. What this is, it's a healthy yeast, and it helps to prevent overgrowth of other bad yeast. And you're basically giving good yeast to crowd out the bad yeast. It also binds to gliotoxin. And gliotoxin will inflame the brain, cause anxiety, mental restlessness, trouble focusing, ADHD type of symptoms. Now, we have seen people with high levels of gliotoxin, and we treat with Saccharomyces boulardii, and the symptoms that they, told they were had, or the previous diagnosis of ADHD, falls away. This is not the case with all people, but we have seen cognitive symptoms improve a lot when you get out gliotoxin. So the dose is 2 pills once a day. If you're sensitive, you can start with 1 pill a day. This helps a lot of people. It's also used to help balance vaginal flora. So if you have recurrent yeast infections, this can be very helpful. It's also super helpful for bacterial vaginosis. Now, the rest of the binders, timing is pretty important. And the reason why is binders will bind up all the bad toxins, but they also bind the good stuff as well. So if you take your binder at the same time as your thyroid hormone, it's going to bind to your thyroid hormone. You're not going to benefit from your thyroid hormone, and you're going to spend a lot of money on your thyroid hormone, spend money on binders, and it's not going to work. So binders, ideally, you take the binder, and then you wait about 30 to 60 minutes, and then you eat something with fat. And the reason why you eat fat is your fat will stimulate your gallbladder to release bile. And this is what we want to do. We want to stimulate that bile to release all those mold toxins. And then, ideally, you want to take the binder at least 1 hour away from any vitamins, herbal supplements, and medications. And that's 1 hour before and 1 hour after, because again, you don't want to waste your money on all this stuff. We find the ideal time to take a binder is before dinner, around 3 to 5 p.m., just like you would have a drink after work. And instead of it being your alcohol happy hour, this is your binder happy hour. It's best if you do not take binders right before you go to sleep. And the reason why is the time that the liver is at its peak action is from 1 to 3 a.m. And your liver is working hard. And if you're taking binders, and then it's just not in sync with chronobiology and nature. Now, if you can't take it before dinner, if you can't take it any other time, and you're taking it at night before you go to sleep, it's better than not taking it at all. But it does put extra stress on your liver. So, I have clients, they want to do everything perfect. They want to do it right. And they'll struggle with taking the binders due to the timing. Guess what? The binders don't work if you don't take them. So if you can't figure it out, if you're really stressed about it, just take it when you eat dinner. It'll bind to a little bit of the food. But, if you need to lose 5 pounds, it's going to help you lose a little weight. So if you're really struggling, just take it at the beginning of the meal or take it while you're prepping dinner. Now, if you're not cooking, if you're just pressing buttons on your phone to get Grubhub delivered, take the binder while you're pressing the buttons on your phone and ordering takeout. It still works even if you don't do it perfectly. Take a look at this slide here. Take the binders, take the binders, take the binders, because that's how mold toxin treatment works. You bind the toxin to get it out. Be sure to hydrate when you take binders because they do kind of bind and coagulate everything. So you need hydration to keep everything moving. You need adequate fluid intake. Do not get constipated while you're taking binders. Binders can be constipating. And if you have a tendency towards constipation, we recommend that you regularly incorporate things like psyllium, pure lean fiber, flaxseed, chia pudding, I find is super helpful. If you need to, do Miralax. We have a bunch of herbal Chinese supplements that help, and laxative teas like senna. Whatever you need to do, every day you got to jump up in the air and say, I pooped today. After you've been stable on binders for 1 to 2 months, it's time to eradicate the mold colonization of the nose, sinuses, and GI tract. Antifungal medications and supplements are used to do this. We sometimes use colloidal silver spray. Sometimes we'll use EDTA to help break up the biofilms. Some people actually need antifungal sprays. And then there's things like oregano oil, a bunch of different herbs that we have. We have a lovely Chinese herbal formula called intestinal pulsatilia formula. And then there's things like nystatin, itraconazole. And if we really need a big gun, we'll use voriconazole. It's important to treat the nasopharynx and GI tract because if you don't eradicate the colonization, the mold lives inside your body and it will perpetually release toxins. Urinary mycotoxins need to be checked every 3 to 6 months while you are treating mold. How do you check urinary mycotoxins? Well, first you stop the binders for about 3 to 5 days prior to collection. If you're on methylene blue, that needs to be stopped because the blue dye that comes out in the urine will affect the mold toxin test and they won't be able to read it. You take daily glutathione for 1 week. You can either do pills or injections or an IV. Do a big sweat the day prior to collection. Eat an early dinner the night before collection, and then collect the first morning urine and send it off to the lab. How long do I treat? You treat until urinary mycotoxins are no longer present. Sorry to tell you this, mold toxin treatment is not a quick fix. Unfortunately, it is often a minimum of 2 years to fully eradicate mold. However, people often feel significantly better 3 to 6 months into treatment. I'm sorry I didn't make these rules up, but you really cannot rush the detoxification system. And we didn't create the human biological system. It needs support. And if you try to detox faster than the body can handle, you will make yourself worse. You will make yourself sicker. If you want to dive deep into this, you can watch this great podcast by Scott, the Better Health Guy, where he talks about different mold toxins and different binders and how to patch them up. Feel free to screenshot this. It's episode 122 with Scott, the Better Health Guy. He's extremely intelligent, very well researched. Most podcasts are a lot of filler with very little information. Scott packs every podcast full of information, and he offers a wide variety of perspectives. We really like Dr. Neil Nathan. We've worked with him for years. He is our mentor, and we find his way to treat mold toxin extremely effective. If you have any questions about binders, you can reach out to us. You can call us, text us, email us. And depending on it, whether you saw Chris or I, just follow up with us. Thank you so much.
The power of ketones, your body's alternative fuel. The folks at Approved Medical Solutions have done it again. That's right, with their new Clean Ketones supplement. Imagine your body as a hybrid car capable of running on two different fuel sources. While glucose is your body's regular gasoline, ketones are like switching to an efficient, clean-burning alternative fuel. I would say rocket fuel. When your body produces ketones, whether through fasting, low-carb dieting, or intense exercise, something remarkable happens. These molecular powerhouses cross the blood-brain barrier, providing crystal-clear mental energy that many describe as enhanced focus and clarity. But ketones aren't just brain fuel. They're efficient energy sources for your heart, muscles, and other vital organs. Think of them as premium-grade fuel that produces less metabolic waste than glucose processing. Research suggests ketones may offer additional benefits: reduced inflammation, improved metabolic health, and even potential neuroprotective properties. They're particularly interesting for athletes seeking sustained energy and anyone looking to optimize their cognitive performance. The best part? Your body is naturally designed to produce and use ketones. It's not about completely replacing glucose, it's about metabolic flexibility, giving your body the ability to thrive on both fuel sources. Whether you're interested in mental clarity, athletic performance, or overall health, understanding and harnessing the power of ketones might be your key to unlocking new levels of well-being. Approved Medical Solutions Clean Ketone Formula contains nature-identical ketones. These ketones provide the same fuel as those produced through a keto diet. Approved Medical Solutions Ketone Formula does not contain sugar, caffeine, or 1,3-butane-diol, and they are not ketone salts. I've been using them routinely now and notice a minimum of a 10% increase in exercise performance. By diving deep into cutting-edge research and real-world applications with leading scientists and practitioners, the Pod of Inquiry illuminates the science-backed path to enhancing your mind and body's potential. You can find us on all platforms, including Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please join us. I hope you all enjoyed today's show and got some truly empowering knowledge out of it. You can always follow up on anything we talked about in the show notes found at our website, podofinquiry.com. If you think you might have tickled just a few neurons inside that cerebral cortex, please spread the word to your friends and colleagues and tell them that they need to get spelunking. Also, if you can take a minute to leave a review on your podcast provider of choice, and especially Apple Podcasts, that would greatly help the show and be so appreciated, provided it's positive. And if not, then just keep your pie hole shut and stay down in that cave. Let's keep spelunking.
This podcast is designed for informational purposes only and does not constitute any medical or surgical consulting advice or imply a development of any physician-patient relationship. The opinions of guests who are featured on the show are not necessarily the opinions of Dr. Barrett or the production team. This podcast is owned solely by Barrett Medical and Surgical Media, LLC. While the show is highly oriented for physicians and healthcare providers, anyone interested in the improvement of human performance and understanding will find us a welcome goblet to sip from, or guzzle. However, no representation or warranties are made in any way whatsoever on this podcast for any products, techniques, or other things discussed. Invited guests are not vetted by the Pod of Inquiry for their qualifications and may have a direct or indirect financial interest in what they present and discuss on the show. The Pod of Inquiry disclaims any responsibility from anything taken from the show and used personally or professionally. It is a responsibility of the listener to perform their own due diligence prior to the implementation of any ideas, products, techniques, or anything talked about on the show.